It's time for Financial Friday, and Eric Eaton of Eaton Financial is back to talk about some of the important questions that you should be asking your financial advisor. Hi, Eric. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here again.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, we're talking questions, literally. So as I'm going to ask my first question, I'm going to ask, what do people need to be asking?
Well, you know, when people meet with a financial advisor, it's very normal for the financial advisor to ask a lot of different questions. That's fine. But people really need to focus on what questions they should ask the financial advisor. After all, it's your retirement, and if you're not asking the right questions, you don't get a redo. You kind of got to get it right.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah. So what I would start with is a couple basic questions. Okay. So first and foremost, how long have they been in the business? You know, not only just to see what their experience level is, but we haven't really had a bear market in the last 10 years. So you kind of want to see that they've been able to have the experience of a down market and how to navigate through that just as much as an up market would be.
So if you're asking that question, what do you hope the answer is? What should the right answer to that question be?
Well, I mean, it's going to vary, but I would say you want experience that's going to include that down market. You know, so 10 plus years, I guess, in today's world. The second question I would ask is what their rate of holding period for their clients is. So, in other words, how long their clients stay with them. Because it can be great if they're good up front, but if they don't have the service model and they can't fulfill the back end of the relationship, it's not going to be all those cut out to be. And finally, I would ask how much assets they actually manage. Okay. And the reason that matters so much is if you're not managing, it's all proportionate. If you're not managing a lot of assets and you've been in the industry for 10, 15 years, that kind of leads to the question of, well, what is your retention rate if your assets aren't continually growing? For example, I've been in the industry now over 20 years, and at Eaton Financial, we manage over $220 million in brokerage and managed assets.
And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you can tell your client the information that they're asking and do it in a confident way, and that they've got the experience and the motivation behind it, right? That's basically what you're kind of saying. Exactly.
Another good question to ask them is, are they acting on a fiduciary capacity? And it's kind of a tricky question, but it's a direct yes or no question. There is no in between. And if they say yes or they're leading toward yes, get it in writing. Because what that means is if you're acting in a fiduciary capacity, it's by law, you have to act in the client's best interest at all times. Regardless of what the commissions or the fees are, it should always be in the client's best interest. So it's important to get that up front and understand what that means to the client.
Because that's kind of an icky question. You don't want to ask about that compensation, right? But you're saying that is something that people need to know.
Absolutely. You have to ask about the compensation. And if it's a good advisor, they shouldn't be ashamed of what they make. I mean, you get paid to do a good job. The compensation's an important part to ask, and it's sometimes hard for people to ask, but as a client, you need to understand, is that advisor getting paid a fee for a service or advice, or are they getting paid a commission for something they're selling you or something you're buying? And if they are getting paid a fee, the client needs to know what is that fee up front, and you have to be aware of the hidden fees or the fees you don't see, because unfortunately the fees aren't always as transparent as we'd like them to be.
I like that we're talking about asking questions, because sometimes in situations, you know, I hate to ask those kind of things. So I really appreciate you talking about this segment. And if people do want more information on how you can help them, how you can answer their questions, where can people go?
They can call us at the number at the bottom of the screen, or they can, if they're interested in a second opinion for free, they can reach out to us by email, set an appointment there too.
Good stuff. Well, Eric, thank you so much for coming in. I think this was a very important segment we talked about today.
Thanks for having me.
Come back again, okay?
Appreciate it.